Alright kids, I'm back and I'm better than ever. You may have noticed that part 2 of the Outer Worlds review hasn't come out. And my explanation for that is, it's coming out. Until then, I wanted to talk about a little news that dropped. So there was this live stream for PlayStation and they were all like, hey, we got games. And they usually don't have games, so nobody watched it. Plus, everybody has jobs. Only consumers were watching it. So they clapped.
I clapped because I know Star Wars!
Whenever they found out that KOTOR was being remade, which is something that I've wished for a long time, because it means a lot to me as a video game. But I was at work, mopping the floor, cleaning the sink, cleaning the VCR. I was at work, unlike you cretins who watched it live. So I didn't hear about it for a couple of days. When I heard about it, I was like, it's probably gonna suck if BioWare is making it.
I can't believe you committed suicide.
They are not the ones making it. So there's a silver lining there, but let's even explore what it is. It's not a remaster, it's a remake, akin to Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, but these games are fundamentally different in terms of mechanics and the way the game plays, but it is very similar in how the story happens, story beats, all that. So I think this is a great idea. I would not really want just a remaster because the original game has a lot of problems and y'all are gonna get mad at me for saying that. Okay, don't get mad. I'll explain. I'm on your side, okay? I'm on your gamer girl side, okay? Just calm down. Put your pitchforks down. Put your mean tweets down. Just hear me out here, okay? We're not really going to talk about what's going on in this studio because there's terrible sexist tweets from the writer, and if they rewrite the whole game, it's going to be terrible. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about, in an ideal world, I dreamed for years of it being remade, because if it is remade, then we can get KOTOR 2 remade, and then we can get an actual KOTOR 3. There are factors that we have to keep in mind, such as Disney owning the IP, and realistic things to expect from a gaming studio. We're not focused on the questionable choices in hiring, we're focused on, in an ideal world, this is how it would work. But a disclaimer up front, you do have to realize that this isn't Disney Star Wars, the bad Star Wars. So Disney has a new canon and they have new rules, so you're gonna have to edit some of the language in the context of the new canon. It's gonna be a little different, it's gonna be a little weird. As the kids say, the canon ain't what it used to be. I don't know why you'd really have to edit the canon of KOTOR because all of this stuff contradicts each other. The prequels contradict the originals. The Force Awakens contradicted the original trilogy blatantly. The Last Jedi contradicted The Force Awakens blatantly. And then the Rise of Gaywalker contradicted The Last Jedi. You saw what I did there? You saw what I did there with the gay walk? You saw what I did? I don't really know why they bother to have a canon division anymore if it's clear that nothing's canon. But I guess they're gonna have to go over with a fine-tooth comb and say, oh, we don't like this idea. This mentions the character Exar Kun, and we wanted to do an animated series on Exar Kun. He's the key to all of this, okay, guys? He's the key. He's gonna be our ace in the hole. Once all our miniseries fail and all our movies fail, Exar Kun's miniseries is gonna be what gets us out of the boat. Exar Kun is the key to all of this, okay?
Because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
So Disney's gonna do that crap, and I'd prefer they keep it to a minimum because that would be very detrimental to the original story of the video game. You can edit the lore in smaller ways, like taking out the term Dark Jedi, or saying, well, this is a story that was told, we don't know for sure it was true. You can cover your tracks a little bit and put some wiggle room in there if you need to retcon it, but just keep it as similar as possible to the original game. We are out of prefaces. We are on to what should the game be like. Because lots of people are like, the game is perfect. The game is a 10 out of 10. No, it's not, okay? And let me tell you why. Loading screens. That's why it's not a 10 out of 10. I played KOTOR on Apple after I beat it on Xbox, and let me tell you, quick loading times makes the game not only 20% shorter, but 100% better. They're gonna have to have this in the remake, or else it's not gonna work for me. It's gonna be a major detriment, because in old games like KOTOR 1 and 2, or Fable on the original Xbox, you're waiting your life away, and it's an incredible amount of time spent in loading screens. We're sitting there while we're dying second by second, and nobody cares. It's quite the debacle in my opinion. We need the loading screens fixed. Hashtag fixed KOTOR loading screens. No more loading, and they have the power of next gen to help them. The next thing that I'm going to talk about that's controversial is combat. Now, I'm not going to be a total casual here and say that I am totally against KOTOR combat, but I will be 100% honest. I didn't really feel it. There's a couple of times in a couple of the boss battles where it was fun and challenging and kind of unique and interesting to try and figure out how to use some stuff in terms of time limits, resource limits, force limits. How do I beat this guy? That was kind of cool every now and then. But overall, I think the combat system needs to be rehauled. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be real time. I'm not saying it needs to be action. I think you could change the current system if you wanted to do turn-based. I hate turn-based, but you could do something like that. In a game where turn-based is good and the story is good, then I can get on board. I think another route you could take is just changing up the timing. If you made the timing for attacks with the current system shorter, then that would make it a lot better because you would have quicker response times, and maybe more powerful attacks such as a critical attack could take up more spots. They would take longer to wind up and to pull off, so it would have like a risk reward system of timing, and the overall fights would be quicker, but also there would be a little bit of strategy. I would like that. We'll see what happens. I hope they don't go full Jedi Outcast, Fallen Order, because it's an RPG. I wouldn't mind if it went that route because I'm not overly enthusiastic about the original combat, but I think you need to keep some of the remnants of the old ideas in the combat, or else you're gonna miss some of the fun. Probably the biggest rule of this remake needs to be that all of the main quests need to be virtually untapped, unchanged by this remake. The only thing you can do is add. So if you want to add an extra route, you want to add an extra way to play a mission, you want to add an extra choice, that's fine. But you cannot take away any choices, especially in the main quest. But there's a couple of side quests that are very important, that are very fun, that are very iconic, that you can't take out, and you need to edit them in minimal ways. So really, with this remake, which is a huge task when you think about the size of the game, you need to be thinking about addition, which is an incredible problem in today's gaming world because they cannot make long games fun like a lot of the old school games could. It's going to be an issue for them to be able to do that much content, that many outfits, that many facial animations, that many voice clips, to code all that, and to then add more in today's graphics obsessed world. But I think you need to do it. I would say the rule is add a little bit more. You can't add a new side quest, add a little bit more to the normal story, like, oh, well, you could take this path, oh, well, you could choose this and you couldn't before. Try not to cut a side quest. Try not to cut a side quest at all costs. Now, another thing would be the companions. You could add maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 3 if you're feeling really gutsy. But really, I think what you need to do is you need to add elements to some of the companions. Because in KOTOR 2, they did the companions better overall, even if some of the characters in KOTOR 1 were better. So, what I mean by this is, for example, T3 needs to be featured more prominently, needs to get more of a focus like in KOTOR 2. You could add certain elements, like, say, you being the master of, like, say, mission. You could train her to be a Jedi or train her to be a Sith or something, in that vein. Add more material and substance to Karth's romance because it doesn't feel like there's much there in the game, honestly. So I think you should add to that, add a little bit more, because Bastilla's romance is clearly laid out. Perhaps another love interest companion would be cool. I think a great addition would be a pure Sith, not a pure blood Sith. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a pure Force-using evil character. That would be a fun idea. I don't know how you'd fit that into the story. Maybe bring him to the council, have some gobbledygook about him trying to take down the Sith or something, so he's a good Sith, even though he's using the dark side. I don't know. Do something. It could be cool to have a true evil people running around with you in KOTOR 1. Sort of like how in KOTOR 2 you had evil characters running around with you. In KOTOR 2 it seemed like there was more evil people and people that you couldn't trust. And I like that. I like that idea that there's a bunch of crazy people on this ship. But that is KOTOR 2's difference to KOTOR 1. So it's like whatever. Whatever you want to do. Customization, I would like more armors, more weapons, all that jazz. But the story needs to be very, very, very similar. Perhaps you could add one planet, but I think that's pushing it. If you add a planet, then you're cutting down on dev resources. In an ideal world, you could add a planet, add 3 companions, and add side quests and keep everything the same. And you can just add one more Starforge map on the map, and it'd be fine. That would be cool. If that doesn't happen, I'm not mad. Maybe you could add a moon or two, something very small. All of these things would be really cool, and I would really enjoy any addition you can bring that's well written, that has any sort of fun effect on the game. I would definitely be a fan of that. Now, an objective problem with the original is the turret sections in space. Those are horrible. Just, if you ain't gonna figure them out, if you're not gonna make them fun, take them out. If you're not gonna figure out ship combat in a meaningful way, or a turret section that is actually fun, take them out. I mean, those are horrible. That feels like a Flash game, that feels like something I made, I could make that. It was bad. Okay, so fix that. Fix a lot of just little things, like, of course, the underwater suit's not going fast enough. There's lots of little changes you can do, which I'm sure you're gonna get. The graphics will be important to show off the game. Making the environments come to life in detail and in scope. A lot of people forget how big some of the landscapes and backgrounds were for KOTOR 1. Nowadays, they seem very small. You're like, oh, well, you can see a city with flying cars in the background. Whatever, that's nothing compared to now. Which is true, but back then, that was a pretty dang big deal. Just being able to walk around and there's like flying huge stingrays in the sky, and you got the crazy cars flying around and stuff. That was cool. So add to that the environmental stuff. Add to the amount of people you're able to talk to on the street. Add little extra side pathways and little extra pieces of the cities and more playable content. As long as it substantiates in the substance department, like, oh, it's not just random NPCs telling you something that doesn't matter. If it's adding to the story and it's adding to the gameplay, it's adding gameplay elements that are unique and new, then it's fine. As long as it adds value. If it's just a quest about, oh, go get this piece of armor, or oh, go kill these 3 normal enemies and get me this and I'll get you money, I don't care. You have to make it quality content that you're adding. And I think that's the most important thing in a remake. Ideally, you want to add, I think, 25% and keep 75% the same. So you want to alter some of the map designs, enemy layouts, all of that stuff, because you want the person who played the original to really feel like, oh, this is a new experience, while also playing on their nostalgia. So I think another cool element would be adding or playing around a little bit with the core attributes, skills, and the move set. I would like some crazy force, crazy stuff. Now I know Disney's Star Wars for some reason is very restrictive on a lot of those types of elements, even though they let all of the directors of the films introduce new force abilities that weren't really common in the EU. They seem very restrictive of what can and can't be introduced in books and stuff. I don't know. Maybe we could see all the weird powers that are in KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. I would like that. I would like even more, honestly. I'd like it to be taken to the next level. I want to see some crazy, weird stuff that we've never seen beyond just heal or drain life or lightning. I want to see some crazy stuff. Some crazy stuff that's never been in Star Wars. When I was a kid, I always used to like thinking about, okay, if the Sith have lightning, what do the Jedi have? You know, what is the power of the light side? What is the power of the dark side? They could even add an element where if you're in the middle, you could have a certain set of moves, like maybe kind of chaotic neutral. A few moves on that side, that would be so cool. Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. Adding a large side quest that's kind of a major addition, like a Dark Brotherhood quest line, or a quest line where it's maybe a secret Jedi society or a secret Sith society trying to find other ancient artifacts, like an archaeological secret society or something. Maybe it's a corporation could be paying you to go find these pieces of this and we're fighting over this. Something that could keep the player engaged, that's a side continuous mission that doesn't really relate as much to the main mission would be really cool. Maybe a gang related long side mission. You could do lots of stuff in Star Wars, and that's what I want to see them do, is in the new content embrace some of the weirdness. I would love to see lots of new types of alien models. In the original, they had a lot of alien models that were kind of more from the original trilogy, which is, you know, it's fine. They wanted it to feel like Star Wars, but they did experiment a little bit and add like the Manon and stuff like that. So I'd like to see new designs, new aliens. I like that talk you had with that weird dude in the bar that one time, just that unique alien. I like stuff like that. I don't think that Disney or the people in charge would ever want to open the can of worms that is letting you play as an alien. But dude, that would be so freaking cool. Oh my gosh. Dude, Wookiees. Yes. Oh my gosh. Play as the dudes from the diner. Y'all Star Wars guys are probably getting angry at me right now. They're probably shouting.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror.
That'd be fun if you could be an alien. Even if it restricted your gear a little bit like it does in the base game. But honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. Original voice actors would be very good too, but some of them I bet you can't get anymore. Bastilla's coming back, her voice actor's coming back, Jennifer Hale. I would really like Jolie's actor to come back, voice actor. Karth. All the main characters, I would really like their original voice actors to come back. Okay, I don't want to see no pulling of a Fallout 4. I don't want to see Mass Effect style dialogue. This game is a text-based RPG, okay? None of that. The game was built from the ground up to be a text-based protagonist, not a voice protagonist. So don't voice the protagonist. There's so many things you could do right. There's so many things you could do wrong. In the wrong category would honestly be altering the story too much, changing the lore because of Disney Star Wars, changing the story because, oh, that's sexist, that's racist, that's all the isms. Don't change the story. Don't inject modern politics into it. Bastilla is a great character. Karth is a great character. I love Jolie Bindo. I like these characters. These characters are fantastic. Please don't add SJW nonsense in here. Please don't make Bastilla a strong, independent woman. This is my letter to the developers. Don't make these characters what you want in modern politics to be portrayed to the audience, to make them change their mind about Trump or Hillary Clinton or Biden or whatever y'all are thinking about. Just make the characters good. Bastilla's a good character because she has flaws. She failed in the end. She fell to the dark side, but everybody would have, because they were torturing her, basically. Everybody would have eventually broken. But she broke, she failed, she went to the dark side. And then she comes back to the light, and you can get her and fall in love with her. And say, you know, I don't care that you fell to the dark side. I still love you. That's awesome. Don't mess with that. Don't add pronouns to this game. Don't add no gender sliders and no genders to the customization. And, oh, we don't have a gender and you can choose various... Don't do that. Just make a good game, okay? Thank you. Don't make Bastilla have different pronouns or something. Don't preach to the characters. Don't preach to me. I don't want to hear it. Now, Juhani, you can make her gay, because that was already insinuated in the original story. But the deal is, Juhani is like the worst companion in all of these games, the KOTOR games. So you're going to have to make her likable if you want to make her gay. It was insinuated that she was gay in the original game, but please, please... I don't need preaching anymore. Everything is preaching. Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. Everything is politics. I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear it anymore. Please. I want escapist fun. Is that so much to ask? I just want to be able to escape into a fun world. Now that's my request of the developers. I don't know how deep the game is into development. It's probably going to take like 4 or 6 years to finish. So by the time everybody gets their hand on the game, they're not even going to really want to play it that much. People are going to be just like, I've wanted this game so long. The window of time for the marketability is fallen. So I mean, this game is probably gonna be horrible. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? But in a perfect world, that's what I want. No politics, none of that. Add, don't subtract. 75% the same, 25% different. Different combat's fine with me. I kind of want different combat, but don't change it too much. Voice acting is key. Writing is key. This new sequences that you add, if it's not written well, it's gonna be bad. But the performance is like as important as the writing, honestly. So the performance of the voice acting has to be really good. Alright kids, I think I did a good job today. There's no way that we're getting a good new KOTOR remake, let's be honest. Whenever I heard about it, I was like, this thing is gonna be horrible. You know, and then the news came out about the writer, so I'm not really looking forward to this. I'm saying, in an ideal world, this is the game that I would want. I want a slightly different, but almost totally the same from the story and writing point of view game. Maybe a couple more companions and that type of stuff. More side quests. That's the game I want. Will we get that game? Almost certainly not, but we can hold our breath, can't we? Maybe one of these years we'll get a good product. I heard Fallen Order was good. I still gotta try that out. I gotta try a couple other games out. So, I mean, we'll see. There's always the off chance. Make sure and like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Tinder. Follow me on MySpace. Follow me on Google Plus. Follow me on Patreon, Instagram. Follow me on Pinterest. Follow me on 4chan. Follow me on Rumble, Twitch, Grindr. Follow me on all the social media apps. Click like. Share it to 5 friends and tell them they'll die unless they share it to 5 friends. Have a good day. And the Outer Worlds review, the second part, will be out within, I don't know,